And welcome back to Backstage. I'm your host, Mr. Magic. I'm stuttering because of this lovely lady sitting next to me, Miss Tanya Stevens. Now, before we went to break, I told you I had heard some things about when you first started your career. I believe, well, let's get it straight for how old were you when you first went into the recording studio?
Oh, when I first went in the studio, I was 16 years old.
That's one thing I did her correctly, so again, that's taken care of. But what I did here, though, it wasn't an easy journey for you that first time, because I understand that the studio allowed more men to go in, and even though you were waiting around to get in, you still had to wait because other people came in and kind of moved you down the line in regards to the time that you had studio time set up for.
Well, in all fairness, and out of respect for the truth and the men, I'm happy we had this opportunity to clear that up. The first time I walked into a studio, I was turned back because I was kind of still in school.
Okay.
And then I went back when I was 16, when I just graduated from high school, and I became a part of a family in Ocherios, which later became IRI FM. There was a studio there, Grove Music, before there was IRI FM. And I actually became a part of that family. Okay. And I was the only singer there. So there were no men there except for people who would come in and rent the studio to record. And I got to sit in on sessions like Burning Spear and stuff. I was mentored by Barry O'Hare and his cousin Stephen Stewart.
Okay.
So no, I didn't run into that misogyny until later.
Okay, all right. Because again, because you hear these things, you know, I've talked to other artists that have been down there, and because two artists in particular, it was Egyptian that I had spoken to some time ago. He had told me a story about where he had gone to the studio, and the women were cast aside. But he stood up to say, listen, you know, let them come in and do what they gotta do.
Knight in shining armor.
Yeah, you know, because I mean, you heard, like you say, you hear these stories and you're like, it can be true, you know. But I'm glad I'm hearing it from you.
There's some amount of misogyny for real. I've never witnessed that, so I couldn't say it's not true because I wasn't there. That's his story, but mine didn't have any of that really. I only went to the studio when I had a reason to be there. I kind of grew up a little bit different. I grew up being forced to stay home. So when I went to the studio, just walking out of the house and going to the studio was kind of going against the rules of the house.
Oh, wow.
And I was told to get a real job, go to college, get a real job. And so I wasn't supported going to the studio. So I couldn't be there all the time.
Got you.
You know, I hung out when my guardians, my parent or an elder sibling that I was with, thought it was safe enough for me to be there. So hanging with Barry and Stephen was a safe environment. They were kind of like, they were the more boring side of music.
Okay.
In terms of no excitement happened there. There was no partying, no nothing. They just worked.
And they were just serious, get the work
serious
done.
They wanted to make their money. I was very cool with that.
Oh, yeah, because you got to make your money. That's
so I didn't run into that until I went to Kingston. Now that's where Egyptian is from. So you might have seen something different than I experienced at first.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm glad that you were not, you know, marginalized by that at all, and it didn't change your mind about pursuing a career in music.
Nothing could have changed my mind.
Well, that's good because with what you've done, and what we've heard, I mean, everyone is just pleased with your voice and your talent and what you bring forward. So in doing that, singing in Jamaica, now here in Bermuda as well, where else have you been? Where has this music taken you?
Oh man, more places than I would have been if I had got that real job that they told me I should.
You could have been the cashier at the Stop and Shop.
I mean, that's very cool. I would have met people from all over, but I might not have been able to afford to go to those places myself. And so I really owe music a lot. I'm very grateful to it, you know, just for being able to share my culture with other people and to learn about other people's existence, you know.
Yeah.
It's nice. Everybody should be able to travel all over. Everybody should. You know, just try to learn more about the world.
Yeah, you can't stay in one place and expect to grow.
It broadens your perspective.
It has to.
I think it helps us to live in a little bit more harmoniously, just knowing and understanding how the other person's world works, so we don't encroach on it. You know, and so I owe all of that to music.
Actually, because some years ago, a friend of mine, he's passed away, older gentleman. Friends used to tease him because he had never left Bermuda. But check this. I say, don't feel bad for him for never leaving. Feel bad for the one that went once and never went again. You understand me? Because if you've already left once, if you've experienced a realm outside of Bermuda and then you never traveled out there again, you're the one that's losing out. Him never leaving, he only knew what he knew here.
Yeah.
He was happy, he was content. Because he used to tell me, he says, I don't really have to go anywhere, but that was his choice.
But he could experience a lot of cultures being in one place if he actually exposed himself to other people.
And he did.
Because you know what? I've always marveled at. I've been around artists. We travel and we're in a remote place, somewhere really far from Jamaica. And they will search and scour the entire city trying to find that one Jamaican restaurant. And they'll hang out with the one Jamaican guy who lives there. So, in effect, they never really leave Jamaica.
No, because you're
so they've
looking
only
for something familiar.
The Jamaican stuff in that place.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a little bit of a bastardized version of traveling. So I don't know that him not leaving would have made him any worse than some of my friends.
Exactly, and I agree with that. And like I said, he was happy, so you know, he was good for that. And you speaking of these different cultures, I'm sure the different foods is something.
I love food.
This is. Because I mean, we have a Jamaican restaurant here, and I found out from other artists that's come that's like, no, I don't really want Jamaican food. Give me some local, you know.
I cook Jamaican food.
There you go. So you know, give me something with a local flavor. Hence Marcus's, where we are. You know, this restaurant here that's
I feel at home here too because Sweden kind of adopted me for a little while.
Yeah.
So it feels like one of my fellow countrymen is here, you know. So. I don't need to eat Swedish food either.
No, not at all.
I want to try your local stuff, whatever you love.
And that's how that's how it's supposed to be. So just to put a plug in, you got to go to Art Mel's, have his fish sandwich. Yeah, all right. So we'll let others know. Art Mel's, only if you're here long enough. If you got to have it. If you want it, that would be the place to go. So, all right, you got a plug, okay? I'll talk to you later. All right, so I understand you say you cook. So let's talk about that after the break. Let's find out what you do in the kitchen. You know, we're finding out about you. We know you're a great singer, you're a great artist, you know, and you perform well. Let's find out how you perform in the kitchen. So when we come back after this break, we're gonna find out some of her recipes. Maybe she does callaloo. I don't know. Maybe she does. She was talking, remember the goat she was talking about earlier? Maybe she cooked one of them. We'll find out after this break. We'll be right back.